Good evening, race fans, and welcome to another round number 10 to be exact, of the American Sim Racing Club, the Super Late Model Touring Series. We are here tonight at Dover International Speedway, and my name is Mason Heimball with Team Goon Squad, bringing you the action here tonight. 1080p, 60 frames a second, as drivers get themselves set up and ready to go for what will be an exciting race here tonight. Race number 10, only, I believe, 2 more races left in the season before these guys call it the end and determine who is going to be the champion after this season is all said and done. And for those of you who are familiar with my voice and my name, it is good to be back here. I hope that Gareth McAllister, my esteemed colleague and good friend, have done a phenomenal job in my place here, bringing you guys the action week in and week out here with American Sim Racing Club. But while he has a little bit of time away, a little bit of holiday break, we are going to go ahead and bring you guys the action here, as we're going to go ahead and get through our qualifying setups here, taking a look at some of the times that drivers have put down here. David Payton going to be among some of the best here at the moment. Zach Kaiser coming in very quickly, though, with a 23.64 to put himself at the top of that poll here today. And David Payton sitting in that second place spot. Great to see that name out here as usual. Brian Wildison, another familiar face. Another name, one name that I'm not quite familiar with and great to see out here. Deontay Hewer. I hope I'm saying that last name correctly, but Deontay in the 00 machine. Looking good out here so far, placing in the top 10th here so far. And Ron Hart moving his way up into the top 3, up into the first place spot here tonight. Andrew Payne shutting that spot out, though. Great to see Andrew Payne out here still doing a phenomenal job at really keeping the lead in this field and staying up at the front every single race. So it's really great to see that action there from Andrew Payne, as well as the rest of the field. Hopefully we have some extremely good action here for you folks here tonight, as Ron Fox, we're taking a look in the number 13 machine, making his way around. Seemingly, nope, he's on the loud pedal for sure. For some reason, my headphones deceived me there for a moment. But either way, either how, folks, as we get ourselves just a little bit closer to the end of qualifying, I'm not exactly too certain how this season has gone for these drivers. To be fair, I don't have a whole lot of notes with me, given that our information available for how the season has gone isn't quite as extensive as one would hope for it to be. But that's all right. That's what we do up here in the booth. We improvise, we make things happen, we make things work. So that is what we're going to be doing here tonight, is kind of playing things by ear, by eye rather, and seeing what drivers have, well, being that this is the first time that I have been to Dover, it's going to be curious to see how these drivers tackle this track and personally get a first eye look at what it's like to race here at Dover. Again, as it's not something that I have done here before, but we're going to go ahead and get ourselves ready for the first heat race of the day, with Eric Hahn starting off in the front row, Nick Fleury and Donovan Carty going to be in the second row, Hayden Swank and Andrew Payne taking up that third row here, as we're going to go ahead and wait for that pace truck to make its way out of pit road and around the track, and let these 5 drivers duke it out to see where they're going to start here for the main feature here tonight. Only 5 laps that we will see for these drivers, and throughout the night, only 1 set of tires is allocated per, I believe it is per stage of the race, if you will. So for these heat races, you only have 1 set of tires, albeit you're not going to really use those. But for the feature race, if you happen to flat spot a tire, getting on the brakes a little bit too much, you have that extra set to kind of lean on and depend on if things get a little sour. But no fast repairs are allowed here, as well as per usual. Always a good thing to see. I'm not personally a big fan of the whole fast repair thing. At least personally, I think it's a good thing for people, who want to just get that seat time in and not have to really worry about and realism. But hey, to each their own, to each however you want to race is up to you. But I think personally for the racing, well, for these leagues, for these types of events, I think having the option of a, well, fast repair can sometimes make things a little dicey on track. But again, all perspective here from myself up here in the booth, as we're going to go ahead and see the pace truck off here and get ourselves ready for the first few laps here at Dover Motor Speedway. I gotta say, I'm excited to be here, folks. It has been quite some time since I've called a race here with American Sim Racing Club, and it's good to be back here in full effect. And I gotta make a note here, Nick Fleury did not start this heat race here. He is not present on the track at this moment, still down in the pits. The car is still in the trailer at this moment, so I don't think the 25 is going to see a lap out here for this first heat. Potentially, we'll see that 25 machine back out for the feature. However, at least we can hope so. We're going to go ahead and get ready for the action here as we make our way through turns 3 and 4. Hayden Swank, Eric Hahn going to be up in the front row here. The 711 Eric Hahn, the father of Brett the Jet Hahn, along with Hayden Swank, the 35 machine down low. The 93 of Andrew Payne, the running champion here with American Sim Racing Club. And the number 3 of Donovan Carty, a newcomer here that I have the pleasure of getting to see race here for the first time. And away the green flag drops here, and Hayden Swank, he is saying bye-bye to the rest of the field as he goes through 1 and 2. The rest of the pack making their way and coming out of 2 onto the back straightaway. You can see Eric Hahn having a little bit of a wobble there as he comes out of 2 onto the back straight. Donovan Carty going to take advantage of that situation, move himself up into 3rd place. And it's going to get rather spread out here very quickly between these 4 drivers, given that there's not a whole lot of competition to really deal with. So a lot of clean air to be had for these guys. It's all going to be just smooth sailing as long as everyone can keep their noses clean and not let those cars get loose from underneath them. That's the last thing you want to have happen to you is you overdrive the car too early. Those tires are going to be cold. They're not going to be really as grippy as you would like them to be. And it's going to cause all sorts of havoc throughout your race here. But it seems to be Hayden Swank is going to be the driver to take it across the line for first and going to start up in the front row here tonight with Andrew Payne. Donovan Carty going to be 2nd and 3rd once things are all said and done here, but still a couple laps left to go here as we come across the checkered line. And Hayden Swank, Andrew Payne looking phenomenal up in the front. Donovan Carty kind of in his own little land back here in 3rd place. And Eric Hahn, I'm not sure if he had a little bit of a moment here, but it seems to be Eric Hahn just kind of taking a, ooh, boy. He seems to be having some troubles here. Unfortunate here for the 711 machine. I really hate to see that happen here for Eric, but hopefully he can mitigate whatever problems he's having and get back out on track and keep racing here. But Hayden Swank and Andrew Payne, they're starting to get a little closer here, but as we come out of turn 4 onto the front straightaway and across the checkered line, it's Hayden Swank, the number 35 machine, going to take it up in the front row. Moving on into the feature race, Andrew Payne going to be up in the 2nd row, and good to see Andrew Payne up there performing as well as he can. And with the, with the kind of short and small field that we have here for this first heat race, definitely makes things a little interesting, a little tricky for everyone involved here. But moving on into our 2nd heat race of the day here, taking a look at our... One moment here, folks. Moving on to our 2nd lineup here, 2nd heat race of the night. John Kane, John DeMeester going to be starting off in the front row. Brian Wildison, I think we had a conversation about this. Steve Hoffman in the 2nd row. Zach Heiser and Charles Darling going to be taking up the 3rd row here tonight as they're going to get themselves lined up, ready to go and ready to rock here. And the pace truck is away and off. John Kane pulling off to the side here, letting other drivers by. He's going to start off at the back end of the field. And Stephen Hoffman, Brian Wildison, both going to be taking up the front row here, the 23 and the 951 machine side by side. Charles Darling Zach Heiser, Charles up on the top row with Zach Heiser down low in the number 14 car. I got to say, Zach Heiser, one of the sponsors from a couple seasons ago, where the Horsepower Happenings podcast was a sponsor for a few races and a few prizes and things along those lines. It was really great to have those guys on board. Really great to still see Zach Heiser out here racing with the team, racing with the league rather, and putting on great performances here with that Horsepower Happenings machine. As the green flag is away, 5 laps left to go, and looks like Brian Wilderson, that bottom lane advantage going to play in favor here for both Brian Wilderson as well as Hayden Swank, as both of these drivers have been able to get quite a significant jump on the rest of the field once that green flag is dropped. And Stephen Hoffman going to be in that second place spot just behind Brian Wilderson, trying to see what he can do to catch up here. Zach Heiser with Charles Darling right on his tail, trying to see if he can get just a little bit closer here. And it seems like, oh boy, Zach Heiser, a little bit of trouble here out of turn 2. Takes a dive into the wall on the back straightaway. The yellow flag is going to fly here. And it seems as well our overlay software is not showing yellow flags at the moment, so that's a little concerning. But that's A-okay. We'll get that sorted out here in just a moment. But meanwhile, Zach Heiser with, again, that's just one of those things like we were talking about in the first heat race. If you just get a little bit too aggressive on that start, on those first couple laps, it can definitely make things very difficult. All right, while we're awaiting our overlay software to correct itself and begin to display the correct information again, Brian Wilderson, Stephen Hoffman, I mean, not a whole lot has changed up here. Not a whole lot has changed for a majority of the field. Zach Heiser appears to be taking it behind the wall. I probably would assume that he took quite a bit good hit to that front radiator, and was definitely leaking fluids, all sorts of things, not having a great time in general after that hit. So I think that might, oh no, I take that back. Zach Heiser's back out here on track with a little bit of a beat-up race car, but he is back out here in the number 14 machine, ready to give it his all here once again as the pace truck is back in. And the green flag flies here once more as Brian Wilderson, Stephen Hoffman take it across the line. Hoffman trying to stay as close as he possibly can here to the 951 machine as they come down the back straightaway, looking into turns 3 and 4. Hoffman staying right on that tail. You can see it here on the roof camera of the number 23 machine. Brian Wilderson trying to stay as low as he can and stay as fast as he can, but Hoffman is responding extremely well here. With only 2 laps left to go, he's going to have something happen here in order to see himself starting up in the front row for the feature. Ooh, a little bit of a wall tap, and that is going to be the end of his run here for getting up into the front, I do believe, as Brian Wilderson, white flag is out. We're coming out of turn 2 onto the back straightaway. 2 more turns and across the checkered line, and Wilderson starts up front, and Stephen Hoffman in the second row. Charles Darling moving up into the third row. And across the checkered line, that will be our, well, roughly starting order here. John Kane in that 4th place spot, and John DeMeester taking 5th. Zach Heiser in that 6th place spot with a valiant effort to get back out on track and try and come across the checkered line here, and he does successfully. Man, Zach Heiser not having the best start to Dover here tonight, but hopefully getting the jitters worked out and getting himself ready for the next run here. And for our last oh boy, okay. And for our last and final grid that you unfortunately cannot see on your screens at this moment, Deontay Hewer, Tim Rogers, David Payton, Ron Hart, and Ron Fox are all going to be starting in this final heat race here tonight. I do believe it is the final one. Again, as our software is just not having a great night tonight, but the racing is good, so we're going to keep up with it and do the best that we can up here in the booth. But Tim Rogers, Deontay Hewer are going to be up in the front row here. Ron Hart, David Payton starting off in the second row, and Ron Fox going to be taking the tail end of the field. And Zen in the chat saying these liveries are looking good. I got to say, I agree with you, Zen. They are looking phenomenal. All of these drivers have come tonight with a little bit of style here, and I got to say, I'm quite a fan. I'm enjoying all the schemes that I'm seeing here tonight, and I'm looking forward to more of the racing here as pace truck is in, and the green flag is about to drop here once more. Tim Rogers again showing us that bottom line is where you want to be on these starts, because you just get a huge run into turns 1 and 2. Deontay Hewer, Ron Hart now going to be battling it side by side. Ron Hart with a little bit of an advantage up on the top row. Top lane, able to get out around the 00 machine and in front out of turn 4. Right on the tail of the number 48 machine of Tim Rogers into turns 1 and 2. Just about a half a car length separating these two drivers at this moment. Little bit of a little loose there from the 48 machine. You could see that rear end starting to slide just a little bit. And here goes Ron Hart, an absolute animal. Through turns 3 and 4, moves his way up into the first place spot and across the checkered line. 4 laps left to go here at Dover Motor Speedway for the American Sim Racing Club Super Late Model Touring Series. This is some great action that we have here on screen right now. Ron Hart, Tim Rogers both duking it out for that first place spot. Deontay Hewer, David Payton both fighting for that third place spot here. You can see David Payton down on the inside of with the 38 machine, the Sunoco machine. Into turns 1 and 2, the 38 moves up front into third place. That's going to be David Payton. Deontay Hewer trying to give it his all here, fight back and see if he can claw his way back into that spot. But only 3 laps left to go, and really you want to save your energy for the feature race. Where you got to give it all, it's for all the beans. Tim Rogers here that we're riding on board with at this moment. Just and here we go. The checkered flag is out. Ron Hart, Tim Rogers, both going to be first and second here as I know it says 2 laps left to go, but we'll just try and ignore that. All right. And while that session has concluded, there is going to be a little bit of a warm-up here for the drivers. Get themselves one final chance to get warmed up before they get back out on track and ready to go here once again. So there it is, about a minute and 30 seconds left until we see the checkered flag fly here for the little warm-up session that we have, and we move on into our official main feature of the night. And folks, what a race it has been so far here at Dover Motor Speedway. Some great action that we've seen in the 3 heat races that we saw already here tonight, and I'm looking forward to seeing what we have here going into the heat. As Andrew Payne John DeMeester, Charles Darling, Eric Hahn. I wish Brett Hahn was here tonight as well, but it seems to be that he is not going to be present here for this race. But I got to say, it has been quite some time since I've got to call a race here with American Sim Racing Club, and it's just bringing me back some nostalgia and a little bit of memories, as this was the first league that I started to broadcast for when I first joined Team Goon Squad on the broadcasting team. So this is definitely a good place to be. But Curtis Rissler says hi, and I say hello. Welcome to the show, Curtis, excuse me, and everyone else that is tuning in and watching. I want to thank you all for tuning in, joining us, watching the show. I hope you guys are enjoying the action, and if you guys do, hit that like button. It's free, doesn't cost you anything, and it lets us know that we're doing a good job and lets us know to keep doing what we're doing and keep trying to improve where we possibly can. But checkered flag indicates to us that is going to be the end of the practice session, and moving on into our race feature here tonight. Starting off in the front row is going to be Hayden Swank and Brian Wildison. Second row, Ron Hart and Andrew Payne. Third row is Stephen Hoffman and Tim Rogers. Fourth row is Donovan Carty and Charles Darling. Fifth row is David Payton and Eric Hahn. John Kane and Deontay Hewer are going to take up that sixth row. Moving on down the grid here just a little bit, Nick Fleury, John DeMeester are going to take up the seventh row. Ron Fox and Zach Heiser going to be taking up the final row here tonight. Folks, get yourselves ready, get your snacks, get your beverages handy, because it is going to be an exciting 50 laps here at Dover. You don't want to miss any of the action here, because it is going to go by in the blink of an eye. And I got to say, it is going to be quite some action here. Frankly, from what I've seen in the heat races, again, this is my first time being here at Dover, be it racing or commentating. So this is kind of an experience for myself, and hopefully for all you folks at home, as we get to watch these guys turn some laps here at a rather interesting short track here. Rather fast and high banked short oval. It's definitely got some great action to show, and I think the first three heat races that we've seen here have proven that already, as drivers get themselves lined up and ready to go here. Pace truck is about to go in as we are about to make our way through turns 3 and 4. And Brian Wildison and Hayden Swank going to be up at the front row here, eagerly awaiting for the flagman to drop the green and let these engines roar here for 50 laps at Dover Motor Speedway. And away we go here through the Geico restart zone. The green flag drops, and Hayden Swank, not taking a moment's hesitation in the 35 machine, gets a massive, over a half a second lead over the rest of the field here. How quickly will that gap be closed? Well, that depends on how fast Brian Wildison, Ron Hart, Stephen Hoffman, and friends want to push these race cars here tonight, as they're already on a mission here. Taking a look from David Payton's roof camera, the number 38 machine, Sunoco, as we come across the checkered line into turns 1 and 2. You can see, I believe that's Donovan Carty in the number 3 machine, trying to find all the room that he can, trying to get as much speed as he can out of that number 3 car, and trying to stay in that draft here as well. You can also see Andrew Payne and David Payton slowly getting reeled in to this draft and starting to get sucked in to this little pack that is formed in front of them. And here you can see a little bit of a better view of the number 3 Goodwrench machine on the back straightaway, heading into turns 3 and 4, trying to get down onto the inside, tuck himself in, keep that number 23 machine up top, take that low line advantage away, and Hoffman doing a great job trying to stay away from the wall there as well. It's real tricky here at tracks like this when you're going as fast as these drivers are and you get pinched like that. It's definitely You definitely definitely only have inches to spare between yourself and the wall. And Hoffman did a great job of keeping himself away from that wall. Looking a little bit further back in the field. Hey, man. Some drivers not quite so lucky. As we see the 48 and the number 14 both make a little bit of contact there with the wall. But so far, a lot of these guys going to take things single file. Not a whole lot of bump drafting going on too much here. We won't see a whole lot of that, frankly. At a track this small, Ron Hart seems to be one of the only drivers, or Donovan Carty rather, seems to be one of the only drivers at the moment that's brave enough to want to chase this closely and try and make those passes this early on. Lap 6 of 50. There's still quite a bit of racing left to go here. But Donovan Carty is taking advantage, is taking every single chance that he can get here and leaving none to spare. Ron Hart just trying to do all that he can to stay fast up on the top row here and inside the top 3. Will he be able to do it? Once Stephen Hoffman also gets in, oh boy, squeezes his way in there. Not quite enough, but Stephen Hoffman able to kind of slingshot his way around through 1 and 2, and he's up into the top 4 now. Ron Hart sitting at 5th place. We've also got a question in the chat. Open or fixed setup? I do believe this is an open setup league. I could be wrong about that. I'd have to go back and look at the website, but I'm pretty certain that it is an open setup league, and that drivers are more than willing to, or more than welcome to make changes to their setup, so on and so forth. But I'm like 95% certain that it's open setup. It's been a while, so I apologize if I'm not able to quite answer your question clearly. That's the best I've got for you right now, without actually opening up the website. But if you are looking for a league to race with, American Sim Racing Club is an astounding league to be a part of. Tanner Tallarico and the whole admin crew, Brett Hahn, Andrew Payne. I don't have them all listed off the top of my head at this moment, but they're all a great bunch of guys. They do a phenomenal job of running this league and keeping the show running. And frankly, they put on good races every single week, every single season. It's all around great fun, great entertainment, and great racing. So if that's something you're looking for, definitely give it a look out. All right, hopefully we'll get to see you out on track one day. With that in mind, folks, I want to thank each and every single one of you who are tuning in right now, watching the show. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the action here. Lap 12 of 50, as you can see on your screens right now. Hayden Swank leading the field, and I gotta say, Hayden has just driven away with this lead, nearly a second separating himself and Brian Wilderson in that second place spot. Donovan Carty seeing a little bit of a pressure here from Stephen Hoffman in the number 23 machine. Steven's giving it all he can here to push that 3 machine, that 3 of Donovan Carty. And I gotta say, I mean, these guys are not afraid to get down and dirty. You can even see the sparks coming off the wall there of Donovan's right rear quarter panel, as these guys are getting as close, trying to use every inch of this racetrack that they possibly can. Good run here from Stephen Hoffman, trying to stay on the bumper of Donovan here. But so far, so smooth for most of these drivers, and so far everyone is doing a phenomenal job keeping themselves in the race, in the mix of things. No one has really had any major moments, as far as I can tell. SDK, or well, our timing software isn't showing us any major boo-boos, so that's a great thing, great news. The 51 of Ron Hart, though, that's a little interesting to see him drop down like that. The 51 gonna come down to 8th place at this moment. Not sure if it's a strategy or if it's he may have already burned off the tires this early in the race, which is a completely plausible thing to do at a track like this. I know I'm guilty of it. I'm horrible at these short track races. I will just burn the tires right off the rims if you let me. But I'm kidding to a certain extent, but I'm horrible at saving tires. Let's just put it like that. But these guys, you know, a lot of these drivers, most of these drivers, I should say, I mean, they race both the super late models as well. Oh, Charles Darling up on the wall. He's going to go up on 2 wheels there for a moment. The 88 machine going to have to adjust his drawers real quick and make sure that's all square and good to go. But yeah, that definitely would have made me a little nervous there, a little white knuckle moment. Checking in with some of our other drivers here. Let's see if any other of these guys are going to have some interesting moments here. We're riding along with Nick Fleury here in the number 25 machine. Great driving here from Nick Fleury. That's what I was trying to say. A lot of the drivers here, they race in both the Super Late Model Touring Series as well as the Modified Series as well. And some drivers prefer the Modified, some drivers prefer the Super Late Models. And I think having both series for these drivers to compete in really kind of shows each driver's strengths and weaknesses, so to speak, when it comes to different tracks and car combinations. I mean, granted, at the end of the day, they're all going to be short oval tracks, but the super late model drives extremely differently from the open wheel modified cars. Modifieds are a lot slower, but they are a lot more nimble. That is... Anyway... Losing my train of thought here. Nick Fleury and Tim Rogers both going to have a little bit of a duke out here for that 11th place spot. And Tim Rogers trying to keep himself up in the action here as well. Lap 23 of 50, just about halfway through this race. And I got to say, I am quite impressed with everyone here tonight. Keeping everything nice and clean. Charles Darling, really the only driver that I've seen have a little bit of a moment getting up on 2 wheels, up onto the wall there, but otherwise, everything was smooth sailing here for most of these drivers. In fact, a lot of these drivers. You can see even Deontay Hewer trying to work his way up through this field in that 00 machine, and man, oh man, Tim Rogers just seems to not be having the best of times here in that 48 machine. And again, it's one of those things, folks, where tires is a huge thing to worry about in these short track races. It's probably the most important thing that you have to look out for during one of these races, is making sure that you are not abusing your tires too much. Because if you scrub them off, and if you know your tires are bare by the time you reach this point halfway in the race, things are going to go sour for you, and they're going to go sour for you rather quickly. Let's take a look back up towards the front of the field. Hayden Swank still doing his thing, still leading this field. Brian Wildison, Andrew Payne going to be up in that 2nd and 3rd place spot. Stephen Hoffman in that 4th place spot. We even got a little bit of lap traffic, it seems like, starting to work its way towards Hayden Swank. Not sure if it's going to affect him too much. It looks to be John DeMeester in the number 2 machine. I don't think John's going to give Hayden too much hassle here, being he's on the lead lap and all, but we'll see. We'll see if Hayden has made any enemies here in the American Sim Racing Club, but frankly, I don't think that's even possible here with ASRC. Everyone is just a very sportsmanlike kind of personality, and it's really great to see. So much like what you'll find in the Team Goon Squad Discord, a lot of like-minded individuals, and as well as individuals from the American Sim Racing Club. It's great to have a community of individuals who all share the same passion as Donovan. Nope, that's not Donovan Carty. Who was that? Brian Wilderson, a little bit of trouble here in the 43 machine as he gets into the wall, and he's going to drop back 2 spots from that second place spot, and that's definitely going to have quite the impact to Brian's race here, and frankly, probably to his mental state at this point in the race, given 21 laps left to go, less than halfway now. It's going to be quite the work, quite the effort to try and get back into that top 3 spot that he was sitting in. And again, folks, tire wear is going to be a huge, huge thing to keep an eye on. Speaking of which, let's have a moment. I want to take a ride on board with one of our drivers and just have a listen. Take a listen to the sights and sounds and see for yourself what it's like to take a lap here at Dover Motor Speedway. Let's take a ride on board here with David Payton in the number 38 machine. Great view on board here with David Payton, the number 38 machine. With 16 laps left to go, that gives you an idea of what it's like here around Dover. And look at the action that we have brewing up front here in the top 3. Hayden Swank. Hayden Swank must have got into the wall somewhere, somehow, while we were having that ride along there, because now Hayden's dropped down to 4th place, and I gotta imagine he made contact with the wall, something along those lines, because now Andrew Payne is the one leading this race. The 93 machine, along with Stephen Hoffman and the number 23, are your first and second place drivers here with 14 laps left to go. Brian Wilderson, Donovan Carty, both going to move themselves ahead of Hayden Swank. Hayden's still trying to do all that he can to make his way back up to the front if he can. Brian Wilderson trying to do everything that he can to stay in the top 3 here as well, given that Donovan Carty and Hayden Swank both want in that same place that he's at right now and are going to give everything that they have, especially Hayden here, who was in the lead for so long, and now probably after one minor mistake is going to cost him a race win here tonight. Taking a look on the roof camera here with Hayden Swank. Getting a different look, a different perspective at this fight here. You can hear Hayden's throttle as well. Oh, boy. It was almost as if he could sense that coming. He could sense something was about to happen there. These two guys both going to be almost touching doors with one another as they make their way through turns 1 and 2 out onto the back straightaway. A lot of these guys, I think, are burning through rubber at this point in the race. It is getting tough to hold on to these cars. Hayden Swank getting a little loose as the 43 of Brian Wildison gets his nose right underneath the rear end of Hayden Swank, almost sending him sideways. Hayden, phenomenal driving from the 35 machine as he's able to keep that one together. And, oh man, from Catastrophe as well. That was some close action there. Luckily, Hayden seems to be able to escape from all of that, as now Brian Wildison getting a little bit of pressure here from Ron Hart, David Payton, Charles Darling, with 8 laps left to go. Oh boy. Oh boy, not what you want to see here. Ron Fox getting into the side of John Kane, or Ron Hart here, excuse me. And I think that might have been a little bit of a retaliation. Wow. Let's take a look at this one, folks. There goes Ron Fox trying to regain control. Slams into the side of Ron Hart. Ron Hart goes sliding backwards. Yep. I think the message was very clear on that one. You know, and it's... I feel for Ron. I really do, because those kinds of things, they happen, and it's really frustrating as a driver when you're... I mean, I don't know if Ron was doing this trying to stay out of the way, trying to keep his nose clean. I don't know if that was his goal for the night, but I know when I'm racing on the iRacing service, I'm just trying to have a good, clean race. Something always happens in sort of a similar fashion that seems to put a damper on things. But, oh boy, when it's a race like this and it's, you know, points are being counted, not everyone is fighting for, you know, for the championship, so on and so forth. Not everyone is here for the points. Most drivers are here just for the fun of it. But you know, there's always still that competitive nature, I think, that you find in, I think, 99.99% of all race car drivers, is that you just want to win. I don't think I've ever met a single race car driver that ever looked me straight in the eye and said, I'm okay with second or third. No, it's always, I want to win. I want to be the fastest guy out there, and I'm going to be the fastest guy out there. So I feel for Ron. I really do. That's tough break, and hopefully he doesn't get penalized for that bit of well, let's just say the passive aggressiveness, to say the least. Although that wasn't really passive aggressive. Anyway, I'm jabbering here at this point. 8 laps left to go here, folks. Zach Kaiser, Charles Darling, Deontay Hewer are actually going to start up at the front row. And believe it or not, Zach Kaiser is the only driver who did not take the opportunity to come down into pit road while this caution has been out here. First caution of the race. And everyone comes down into the field, into the pits, except for Zach Kaiser. I don't know if Zach's got a magical trick up his sleeve. Well, let's see what he's got here, as a green flag drops here once again at Dover for what I, well, think might be just the last time here. As Zach Kaiser gets a good jump away from the field, Charles Darling, Deontay Hewer, Andrew Payne. Andrew looking for all the room that he can here down on the bottom. He's going to head up into turns 3 and 4. Moving up into the third place spot here, right around the double O machine. Hayden Swank going to follow along if he possibly can here. Andrew Payne going to try and work his way up as many spots as he also possibly can. He's going to have a gonna have a good fight here with Charles Darling in the number 88 machine, as Andrew's gonna try and take it up high here. He's gonna stay on the fast line, but Charles gonna stay down low, prevent the 93 from getting that bottom lane advantage where you want to be here through 3 and 4, but out onto the front straightaway. Andrew Payne side by side now with Charles Darling. Gonna move himself up into the second place spot on the middle lane. Charles Darling trying to do all that he can down on the bottom. Still side by side as they come out of 2 onto the back straightaway, heading into turns 3 and 4 now. Payne able to get a little bit of a gap here ahead of Darling. Just enough to move himself down into the bottom lane, out of turn 4, across the checkered line. 4 laps left to go here at Dover for the American Sim Racing Club Super Late Model Touring Series. Zach Kaiser's in trouble now as the 14 machine sees the 93 on his right side. There's trouble, though, as we're about to enter into 3 and 4, but they managed to recover it. Oh, wow. 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 Folks, I can't describe to you how close that actually was. I mean, for those of you that are drivers, that are sim racers, you will know what it took to make that happen. That was absolutely incredible. Oh, wow. 3 laps left to go here. Andrew Payne takes the lead after what, frankly, almost could have been a yellow flag there. 2 laps left to go as they come across the checkered line. I am still in disbelief. Folks, you're going to have to hit that back button a couple times. Go back about a minute 30. Check that out. That was incredible. We might even have to go back after the race is over and check that out. That was absolutely insane. Wow. Final lap here. And let's see what other battles we've got forming. Oh, boy. Look at this pack as we go through turns 1 and 2. Donovan Carty leading this pack here with Stephen Hoffman, Brian Wildison. Zach Kaiser's not in this pack. You were a little jumbled up here, but that's A-okay. Checkered flag is out as we come out of turn 4. And across the checkered line, Andrew Payne takes the win here at Dover Motor Speedway. Charles Darling in second, Hayden Swank going to be in third place here tonight as the rest of the field charges their way across the line to finish out today's race. My, oh my. What a race that we had here tonight, folks. And from my understanding, we are not going to be having... Let me see here. Okay. So we are not, unfortunately, we are not going to be having post-race interviews here tonight as we don't have all of our drivers present to be able to do so, and a little bit of technical issues with the... I won't go into details. All that needs to be said is that everyone did a phenomenal job here tonight. All the drivers had a fantastic race, and frankly, I don't think we could have seen a better finish from this field than what we saw here tonight. And speaking of which, I want to see if we can go back and take a look at that pass that happened between Andrew Payne and Zach Kaiser, because that was just absolutely incredible. Let's see if we can get another look at this here. So here it is, folks. A little bit of a tap there. They both collide into each other, and man, oh man, they were inches, feet away from that wall there on the bottom of the apron. I cannot believe that, folks. I simply cannot believe that happened. That was phenomenal. So to our 3 podium finishers, Andrew Payne, Charles Darling, Hayden Swank, big congratulations, big shout out. You all did phenomenal, as well as the entire field. 1 caution throughout this whole race, and you guys Everyone did a great job, and I want to thank each and every single one of you who has tuned in tonight and hopefully enjoyed the action and what you saw here tonight. If you guys liked what you saw, if you want to get in on some of the action here, join in on what these guys have to offer here with American Sim Racing Club, head on over to the website. You can see it on the bottom of your screens right now, www.americansimracingclub.com. Again, that's americansimracingclub.com. Head on over to their website, check out the other series that they have, including the Super Late Model Touring Series. See if it's something you're interested in and give it a shot. If you also would like to join Team Goon Squad for some racing endeavors, if you are interested in joining our endurance series, I do believe we have, I think, currently 2 spots open that are yet to be filled out of the 62-car field that we are hoping to see before the season. And as well, you get to see myself in the booth broadcasting for a select few races of the season. So make sure you head on over to the Team Goon Squad Discord. You can find that in the description below. Head on over to AmericanSimRacingClub.com if you want to get in on some short track oval action here with American Sim Racing Club, who has been a longtime partner, a longtime friend of Team Goon Squad, as well as myself. I love to have these guys around. It's been truly, truly awesome, and it's great to still be a part of their league, of their family, if you will, and still bringing the action for them week in and week out. So on that note, everybody, it is that time to bring the show to an end. I want to thank you all for tuning in here once again. If you enjoyed what you saw, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Catch all the action that we have here at Team Goon Squad almost 7 nights a week. We've got it all from road racing to oval racing, just about anything you'd want to see here. On that note, my name is Mason, bringing you the action here tonight. Thank you all for tuning in, and I will see you all next week, same time, same place. Thank you all for watching. See you in the next one.